Hello, everyone. See if I can. Nope, that's okay. We had some camera issues. But I think they're fixed. Other than you just won't be able to see what my hair looks like tonight. Perfectly fine. Typically it looks the same every night. Alright, so it is August the 31st. Just around 7 o'clock. And we went live just a few minutes ago. Show if you are with us. Okay, good. Make sure you comment so I know you're here. What's that, Sam? You were able to find us okay? You were only able to find this live video by clicking on that live event post you made. That's weird. I'll have, we'll look and see what might be causing that. Yeah, it should be on our page because I put it on the page. And are you set up to receive notifications from us? Because Facebook's weird, because I may have mentioned this before, but I follow a lot of people in groups, and it's like I was either blocked or what. So it means like they're gone, and then I go on to the page and check the notifications, and it's not set for the high level. So I don't know, but I will look into that. How you doing? Hey, Maribel. I see you. All right. Hello, hello. Are you doing okay? You just got the notification. That's bizarre. Yeah, I don't know. We're really looking into trying our wings in Instagram. So I periodically post on that, but I'm trying to figure out what platform would work for us on, what we're doing here. So I'm trying to work through some of the technical possibilities and restrictions. So Instagram's a possibility. YouTube is. Zoom even. Although Zoom, I don't know if there's a limit or not. I have a few friends that have it. I haven't looked into it. So, yep. How are y'all doing? And I do appreciate you showing. I only want to continue to have these conversations if it's, something that y'all want to do. We need to make sure that there is interest in that. I enjoy them, but and I know y'all, I think you do show up to support, and I think you do find, information, and it is knowledge that you get here, and I think some satisfaction by, joining us. So, let's see. Tonight's meeting is about crystals and elementals. So any type of elemental energy that you might, use. I brought out, oh my gosh, sorry. I brought out, a friend of mine made this fairy house for me. It's an amazing piece. I keep it on my cabinet here. And it was designed specifically for fairies, and it does have a crystal on the actual house. So that is a lot about what we're going to talk about today. Uh-oh, Sam's comments are gone. Are you there, Sam? And then I set out some of the crystals that, hey, Linda, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. So today we're talking about crystals and elementals. You know, there are different element spirits. You know, like for fire, it's salamander. For earth, it's gnome. For water, it's undine, and then for air itself, and it's just, you know, it's a way to give them a name and honor them in that way. So each one of the elementals, I think, would have a different approach, but also possibly a different crystal. So depending on, you know, you see the eyes of a little goblin. Oh, let's see. Yeah, that is cool. She did an amazing job. It's one of my prized possessions. Yeah. Have one. I'd like to ask the question to the group. Have you ever used a crystal to specifically work or work with, work for, present to an elemental? And if you did, which type of elemental was it and what type of crystal? I'd love to hear that. Anyone have any experience doing that? And if you haven't, that's okay too. So I'll just throw out, you know, salamanders, the element of fire. So if you were to work with that element, what crystal brings to mind fire for you? And if whatever that crystal is, why? It's not a test. And, you know, we're all friends here, you know, perfectly safe. There's no haters. There's no wrong answer. I'm just curious to hear what you would use for fire, the fire element, salamanders. Anyone like to go first? Wendell got me a new microphone, so I hope you can hear me really well. He's always doing his very best to upgrade our technology. He works really hard at it. Okay, let's see. I don't know if y'all are typing or if there's a long delay, so I will go ahead and throw out what crystals I would use if I was going to work with the salamander, the fire elemental, and then how I would work with it. So fire, yeah, it's a tricky subject, yeah. So to me, fire is many things. It's warmth, it's comfort. I mean, all of us at one point in our life needed the warmth of a fire, and even if it was a gas fire, maybe not, you know, a physical flame. So it gives you that comfort, and it's also a destructive element. So it can burn down, you know, houses, forest, you know, any type of building. So it's destructive in a lot of ways, but it also it's creative. So it actually, you know, when trees are burned, the seedlings pop everywhere, and before you know it, we've got a forest. Now, granted, years down the way, but I mean, Earth is much older than we will ever hope to be. So hundreds of years is no big problem for it. So it has those characteristics, the fire element. So, and I think I like Maribel's answer, fire quartz, because the color, and so it's almost, it may not even just be the color, but it actually symbolizes, right? So it's called fire quartz, and it's fiery because you can probably see like flames dancing in the quartz. If you can, probably has a lot of movement, which fire does. So I mean, it's continually moving. I mean that's, and once it stops moving, it's contained and it goes out. So that's one of the other characteristics I think fire holds. It's always moving. So it's got a lot of movement. So it's comforting in a lot of ways, but it can also destroy, create. And so working with a fire element, I think that fire agate, I think one of mine that I would use too, and going with that same, concept that Maribel's looking at, I think a golden healer would also be a crystal that I feel like I could work with, the fire element, the salamanders. Okay, so Sam said he doesn't use crystal specifically, but you capture magical sprites, flame horses, and tribal warriors wearing masks and feathers in the flames. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so I mean, the imagery there is beautiful. So I can just imagine. So, I mean, I personally have sat in front of a fire and just gazed into its flames, and you can start seeing things, or not seeing, but visions are presented to you. I think that's maybe a better way to say it. And then there is a connection there. I think for most of us adults, magic was kind of forced out of us in a lot of ways. And when I say magic, I mean it's just seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond this realm, the spirits that lie just in parallel to us. I think we always were walking this earth with other spirits, and they don't necessarily need to be in human form. They can be the fire elements. They can be, tribal warriors, magical sprites, flame horses. I'm not seeing that, but can imagine what it looks like. So, Sam, so just to ask this then, if you were to take your camera out right now, what crystal do you think would match or complement the energy and the vision that you would encounter as you're looking in your camera? Just gonna write down our answers, just out of curiosity for me. Quartz. That's a really good choice. So, so quartz to me, it can capture the image of fire. Arkansas quartz, to be specific. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, so Sam, I've given you my thoughts as to what the quartz would do. How would you describe how the Arkansas quartz lends itself to the imagery of a fire element? Ah, okay. Yeah. So then, do you think that the Arkansas quartz is or the spirits are in it, or do you think that they are one of the four elements, the elementals? And if so, which one do you think it is? Do you think it's the fire element, or do you think it might be this the air, the sylph, or the undine water, or known earth? It does, yeah. Wendell and I spent a week there. I actually have a friend that lives in Little Rock. Um, he he wouldn't feel the energy if it was sitting, if his house was sitting over it. Yeah, he's just doesn't have a connection there. I think he's blocked it off. So what do you think, Sam? Do you have a specific connection with Arkansas quartz to any of the elements? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the elementals are just talking about, this world, this realm. I mean, we have other realms too that, the spirits that roam. Um, I mean, I've heard of, I usually use the word entities, universal entities. So that covers all the other realms, dimensions. Um, I'm sure there's other words and names for them. You're calling the fifth dimension an element. Yeah, why not? Um, what was that? Who has that? I love that movie, The Fifth Element. Oh, their names escape me. But yes, I agree. I really agree. Um, I use Arkansas clear quartz. As a matter of fact, that's one of the crystals that I have here as a crystal that I picked out. Um, I feel like would be very complimentary and also very useful when connecting with the elementals. And I also see that Arkansas clear quartz being connected to water, the undines, and also air. Um, Actually, so then that's all five. So that's one of the things I love about that quartz. So it was one of my, Wendell and I, we really connected with the Arkansas clear quartz territory there. And that's really what started our whole crystal business, really. We were doing other things at that time. So I do have a connection with Arkansas clear quartz. But I think that it's such a multi-purpose crystal that, any of the spiritual entities that you connect with. Hey, Lucinda, how you doing? So, Lucinda, we're talking about crystals and working with other elementals, fire, water, earth, and then so we have salamanders for fire, gnomes for earth, undines for water, and sylphs for air. Yeah, me too. They do have a lot of energy. Even the physical characteristics of an Arkansas clear quartz to me is, really spectacular. I think it really they really outshine a lot of the other countries that I've seen. You can, to me, I can always tell when it's an Arkansas clear quartz. Yeah. And then I brought a few other my pieces here. The spirit quartz. I think personally that the gnomes And the Sylphs Love Spirit Quartz. This is one of my favorite pieces. I've had this one for a long time. I just love how it protrudes out of the rock, the matrix there. And then this is another little spirit quartz. Some of my favorite pieces. So, Lucinda, do you work with elementals, and if you, as in regards to crystals, so do you use crystals and work with elementals? Fire, air, water, earth? And if I'd be interested to know which crystals and how do you work with them? So, quartz I've used several times in working with the gnomes. And some of the gnomes that I have really help care for the plants in the garden. So there's been a few little sickly plants that I've had, and I've, surrounded its base with clear quartz, and I feel like that pays homage to the plant, and also invites the earth spirits to come and help heal it. You've not dabbled with that? Yeah, it's really interesting. And then the water element, Maribel actually took her one of her grids to the ocean and did a grid there. So the water element, I would say, would be very strong in the ocean. Mm-hmm. Yep, Guardians of the Garden. So the water element, the undines. So there's a lot of religions that work that use water as a way of cleansing, not just Christians, and it's a whole ritualistic aspect of water. Like even when you go to the beach or a lake, a creek or whatnot, you may not consciously work with the undine spirit, the elementals, but they're there all the same. And knowing how you relate to them, like just the act of water. So what does water do for us? I mean, so water kind of, to me, it reorientates us. So if we just been, bobbing along a little bit, so water can actually shift you into another perspective. So even taking a bath, I mean, a bath itself can be very ritualistic, connecting with the water. And it doesn't have to be, the ocean. It can be, a small tub. When I have a copper basin that I've used for spell work before, and then when you float flowers in the water, or if you do the an act of cleansing, washing your hands, but it's actually a ritual. So those are, you're actually working with the spirit elements. And you can, bring in the aspect of a crystal, because they are also elemental entities. So they have life inside of them. There's energy in there. So some people call them divas, and that's, so there's a lot of people have belief that there is a spirit that resides within the crystal. And you working with that crystal in also relation to like the other elements, that elementals. You give strength to both. Okay. Yep. So yeah, so you're actually working with water. So, um, and I don't know that you have to be very specific, and it wouldn't hurt to be, have an intention to work with the element of water. And, like when you're in circle, for example, um, you call in the different elements, and the elements have specific personality traits that you would call in. Like water would be for intuition. So when you call that spirit in, then you you invite them into the space, and then from there you ask for their specific energy. So using the quartz and the water for smudging sprays, if you did that as you're creating that spray, you know, give give words to the respect of the water, and then as it connects to the crystal, and speak out, I mean, say the crystal's energy, the spirit of the crystal, the spirit of the water, and you blend them together, and it's actually really poetic, actually. So and when you do that with love and honor, then the water itself does its work for you. It assists in the actual ritual. So that's water, and we did talk about fire for a little bit. Okay, see? Yeah. So you are dabbling in it. Yeah, it's just giving it a name, um, and recognizing the process. That's what's so cool about it. Just being able to say, oh, I do that, and just actually you're going to start, if you become more conscious of it, you'll see how much more you can do with it. And yeah, and all the opportunities that you've had, and will have. So the other thing is like air. I just wanted to touch on air for a minute. Has anyone had any experience using a crystal with the element of air? So when I've brought crystals home with me personally, that's something I was in my personal collection. Um, Using air with crystals, it cleanses it. So just think about this. Like even the candle that I have burning, so that has a dual purpose. It has fire and air, right? But incense, you know, as you're cleansing, clearing the crystal, so the air element is actually assisting the crystal. What are people like us called? We're all into this kind of stuff. Is there a name for it? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I would consider myself to be very eclectic. I I love listening and learning all sorts of esoteric knowledge. I mean, it's just, if it's possible, I'm like, oh yeah, that works for me. And so, um, things like the elementals. I mean, it's something that I was actually trained on in my first coven that I was with. So that that mindset really embraces the elementals. So tiger eye um, for the air or the fire, Lucinda. Which element would you connect tiger eye with? Absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that, Linda. So listen to Linda. Blowing your intentions into a crystal, working with air. It sure is. It absolutely is. Yeah, I mean, our breath is air in its simplest form. I mean, that is without our breath, we would be not here. So, yeah, that's the core of a human is our breath. So, yeah, so blowing on a crystal. Good idea. I love that. Yeah, so we have incense. Tiger eye was fire. Oh, yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. Um, I'm ordering some, I haven't placed the order yet, but I've contacted a vendor. I'm ordering some um, tumbles for the training that I'm giving next in September. And one of them is Tiger Eye. I love absolutely Tiger Eye is one of my favorites. And so, yeah, it definitely does represent the fire element. Blow air on my crystals also. Yeah, so I also, where is my trigger? My Isis crystal. It's over there. So um, I use it also as an extension, um, and it is surrounding. So when I've got a whole bowl of clear quartz that I'll use for a circle. They're just little pieces, but it actually um, creates the. I think I'm going to use this from what Sam's saying. It is the boundary between this world and the next, and so it is like it's the beginning of the fifth element. So it's not quite, but I can see that it would be the bridge between the two. Yeah. So I love y'all's ideas. Yeah, it's really good. So we talked about water. So I put crystals in my bath. I actually, when I make bath salt, I put crystals in the bath salt, and then put that in the bath. Let's see, we talked a little bit about earth. So having crystals out in your front patio. Um, I like when I've washed my front door, I try to do that periodically just to wash the negativity off and bring in positivity. I have crystals in my front stoop, and I think that the home and also all the spirits that are surrounding my home enjoy having the crystals there. I think they do enjoy having them out in the garden. Yeah. To freshen it, yes. Refresh, absolutely. I do that with my oracle cards too. So after every reading that I do, I blow on them, to blow out any lingering energy of the previous client, and then to freshen it, to refresh it with my breath. Um, I actually have a charm bag that I created for several different intentions. One is for success. The other one was for divinity. The other one was for prosperity. I think I did one for happiness. But the bag itself was a mixture of herbs and then crystals, and then with it was a spray that you would use. So you would the spell itself was documented out. What you would do. It was a 7-day spell. You would give life to it. You would blow into the bag, and then you would have to feed it. So this intention was just like a little perfume spray bottle. You would you would say your intentions, your affirmations every day for 7 days. You'd light a candle and then spray onto the herbs, and then that was a working spell, and it was, it's something you would meditate on, and on the seventh day, if everything was lined up correctly, then the what you wanted would manifest. So, but the crystals were part of that. So there's a lot of different ways you can, connect a crystal. Like that one was for the earth element, and then I added breath and then water. So there's a lot of different ways to work with crystals and other elementals. Okay, so yeah, Maribel blows on them when she's working with them. And just think about dye, for example. That was something that they used to blow on. I'm sure they still do. And they were at one point, they were they're made of an earth element. Light workers, maybe, yeah. I consider myself to be an energy worker. Yeah, I had to do a bio the other day, and I was like, I don't know what to say about myself. I mean, I have a bio on our website, but this was for something for that class, and I'm many things. Light worker, energy worker. Yeah, I think that's a good name for us. Yes, absolutely. That's a good point, Sam. By the ocean breeze, yeah, take them out there. And Maribel was mentioning that you did a grid on the ocean. So I mean that you were combining the earth, the sand with the air and the water. So those three elements alone. I mean, so you had all but fire. I mean, you may have had a fire there too. If you had, then it's just like combining all of those elements and just giving, acknowledging them. I think that that's something that you would really benefit from, is having a deliberate intention set on working with a specific element or multiple elements, and then knowing, you know, when you're paying homage to them, if you're outside and you're working with the air element, and if you give words and homage to the air element, I will guarantee you that you will find a breath. You'll feel a wind blow across. And it's not a coincidence. I mean, it's like the air element is thanking you for the acknowledgement. And even like fire, for example, if you light a candle and you're communicating with that candle, that fire element, you will see the wick, the the flame will move. Um, so yeah, I would definitely, um, you know, invite you to work more in in a way that you're aware, of what the elements can do for you when it comes to relations of crystals or even yourself. But once you become aware of it, then it's almost, you start noticing things. You're like, oh, okay, yep, that was the air. I'm sure you've said out loud when you're outside, saying, "Man, it's so hot. I just wish I had a cool breeze," right? And then all of a sudden you have a breeze flow on you. Yeah, the elements are listening. They may not always pay attention and do what we want them to, but there is that occasional, they're there and willing to help us. Okay, so this is Lucinda. So when you're making a connection with the element, you do feel and sense the change. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I know I do. Um, Especially when working with earth. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been, like outside in your garden, your patio or whatnot, and you'll see something go across your vision. It's not a cat, it's not a dog, not a lizard, not a bird. You just sense something. Gnomes. Do our ancestor spirits communicate through elements? I would say that they could influence them. Yeah, I really think that that would be possible. Yeah. Um, when I years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I had a boyfriend pass tragically, suddenly, and I lit a candle for him every night, and I was, I was in my, it was a wailing time for me, and the candle, I mean, I was speaking to Chris, and that candle was acknowledging, responding back. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Lucinda. And I think that, there's so much life there. And it's just, like I said, just acknowledging it, opening up our awareness to it. Buddhist monks meditate with the elements. Yeah, these people. I mean, they've recognized the connection. I mean, they go within all the time. I think they probably live within more than they do without or out. You know what I meant by that. So yeah, just being able to, you know, shift your vision too. I mean, that has a lot to do with what we can expose ourselves to. Stop seeing from the human eye, right? Start seeing from, the eyes within our spirit, third eye, but our spiritual being. I mean, that's when your senses start to open up. So Lucinda said it's hard to explain this energy flow through my spine every single time. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't have that experience. I wish I did, but I can see that happening, and it's possible. Um, and people, to me, that's where we we have an opportunity here to that other people will not ever get to experience because they shut off the possibilities of what's being offered to them. What's possible right now, um, and how to experience that. It's cool, and just like um, water when it rains. I mean, just think how nice that is. So if you were outside and it was raining and you brought your crystals out there, of course those that can withstand water. Um, and it was a pretty well downpour. I mean, not torrential where it's stinging or hail or anything like that, but good cleansing rain. Um, and you go outside with your favorite quartz crystals and hold them in your hand and just listen to the rain coming down and then the wind, so that's air, standing in the earth, so that's the earth element. Of course, no fire. But just doing that, I mean, oh, that would just be so amazing to be able to feel that. Elements are the oldest teachers in the history of mankind. Yeah, absolutely. Right? And they're still having lessons for us to learn. I think the indigenous, I'm not Native Americans, they're the indigenous people of North America. I mean, they had, and all the indigenous people of the earth that were there before, you know, uh, the Europeans, they came and they changed the world in a lot of ways. Yes. Yeah, when you're one with the earth, to feel and sense these things. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's people that can tell when it's, when it's going to rain. Um, when I talk to the wind, my yard gets filled with different birds. Oh, Lucinda, have you talked? There's Renee Barbo, I think is how you say her name. She has a whole, she does a training on the wind spirits. She has wind whistles. She works with Sandra. Oh gosh, can I think of her last name? I'll send that to you. You would, Renee Barbo, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. But yeah, she does teachings on the wind. Yeah, I know. So, and Maribel, I'm sure you do acknowledge it. And I'm sure you're feeling great. When you go out there, I mean, you probably your whole demeanor probably changes. I mean, I'm sure your spirit, your aura has been activated. Like Sam said, negative discharge, but ion, sorry. So, but once you vocalize it and give it words, it's I know it's going to alter your experience. It really will. Because they're going to be appreciative of it, and you're going to, it's just like when you give somebody something, it makes you feel good and they're happy. So it's just like that relationship. So yeah, so we'll all have to do that. I've done several rituals at the beach before, and just having that power of the ocean, the water, and the air, and then calling on them to assist you in your work. Um, yeah, it's very powerful, very powerful. All right, cool. I will send that to you, Lucinda. Yep. Yeah. They have a podcast and everything. It's called the Shaman's Cave, and she'll do some teachings. There's, I think, the Shift Network. She's on that. And if you feel chills, acknowledge Mother Earth and her will. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm, yeah. Just, you know, it's been. I mean, this year and last year has been so crazy for me. Um, Connecting with Earth is, the elements, and getting out of the four walls, and away from technology, and just laying in the earth, feeling the earth, looking up at the sky, having the, air and earth, connect, and then, doing what you can to feel fire and, you know, water. So my my retreat that's coming up in September, my third year shaman class work, it's going to end with elementals. So we're going to be uh, submersing in a lake. We're going to get buried in the earth. We're going to be using whistles when we go through the forest, or it's a vision quest that we'll be taking. And then the fire, we'll be bringing offerings to the fire for our ancestors. So that whole weekend is going to be acknowledging the elements. So and I will be bringing many crystals for that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't wait. But yeah, so that's the element. So before we go, I'm going to go ahead and do a card for everybody, if y'all don't mind. I enjoy it, so I hope you don't mind. Um, so the elements are with us every day, and there are part of, us using our crystals, whether we have recognized them before in the past or not. I mean, that's something that, it just know that they are there. So in the future, when you're working with your crystals, and whatever that might be, uh, if you think of an element, if and it's in a supporting role to what you're trying to achieve, then I would definitely call in that element deliberately, and see how the outcome is different. Feel how the difference is in your little ceremony. And ceremonies don't have to be very elaborate, guys. It can be just you standing in front of a counter, saying something that comes from your heart. That's a ceremony. So it doesn't have to be anything really fancy. You don't have to memorize anything unless you want to. It's totally up to you. But I would suggest that we all of us on the call, the next time we work with a crystal, call in an elemental, and see how that changes, our feelings about what that crystal did for us. Ooh, I don't want that one. Okay. So does anyone want a card pulled? Anyone? It's an oracle card, the same ones I use. No pressure. If y'all don't, just thought it would be a good opportunity for us to do that. So Maribel's an air sign, but I'm an Aquarius, which is the water barrier, so I feel connected to the ocean, the air I breathe, and wind. Yep. Okay, so Linda wants one. All right, let me do Linda. All right, so let's see, what does Spirit say for Linda? Okay. Yes. Okay, so, all right, so let me do Linda. All right, so Linda, it's fear. I think we had fear before for you too. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so Linda, what I'm getting from Spirit is that you've been afraid for a very long time about this topic, and you struggle back and forth. You get a little bit brave, and then something in the back of your mind you worry about, and then the fear overtakes you, and it almost like it paralyzes you from going forward with a decision that you've made. Are you trying to? Is this a business venture or something that you're? However small it might be. I mean, it may not be, buying a brick and mortar, but there's something. There's a business decision I'm getting, is that you're vacillating back and forth between I want to do it, I can do it, no, I'm afraid, no, I don't want to. But anyhow, that's what I'm getting, Linda. So your fear is paralyzing you. I mean, your fear is preventing you from realizing a dream that you had for a very, very long time, and that you'd be good with, whatever that might be. You're meant to do it. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Right. So this is for Christy Breifogel. Thank you for joining us, Christy. So let me just see what we have for you. Let's see what Spirit wants to tell you, Christy. Let me see. All right. So Christy, it is Luna. I don't know if you can see that light kind of washes it completely out. So Luna, Christy. Let's see, Christy. So what Spirit's telling me right now is that you're second guessing your intuition in a lot of ways, but what I see is that you've been given an answer, and your intuition acknowledges it, but then you actually are saying something totally different than what it's your the what's possible is what you're being presented, and you're kind of like discounting it, so you actually are justifying it in a different way completely. So you're I'm going to say this, you're making something up, not not to be rude or mean to anyone else or even yourself, but it's because what's the truth is being presented to you. Your intuition acknowledges it and accepts it, but you doubt that so much that you're actually coming up with a totally different version of what it could be. So I would say trust your intuition. If it feels good the first time, then go with it. Okay, so this is for Lucinda. Chrissy, I don't know if that makes any sense. Sometimes the cards do, and sometimes they don't. So, and sometimes they don't automatically, and it might take some time for them to resonate. All right, so this is for Lucinda. Let me see what Spirit has for Lucinda. Okay, let me see, Lucinda. Lucinda is fire. Oh wow, Earth, fire. So we had Earth, well, Moon. Okay, so that's I look at Moon being the air element. Um, so we've got the fire element here, Lucinda. So the Sun. Um, okay, so the fire element and the soul card is to me really one and the same. Um, I can see a shift happening with you, Lucinda. Um, so a couple times back, you were talking about not being able to find your way. I really see you are going to be bursting forward in the very near future. I can really see that you've got some momentum, and it's almost like you've been building up this energy, and that you have a project that you've been wanting to uh, put out there, and you've been very hesitant and almost like in a lot of ways apathetic about it. So there was apathy set in. So it's almost like you had this great idea, and then you just kind of like gave up on it, but it was still there percolating in the back of your mind. So what I see right now, Lucinda, is that that project is, you've got some momentum coming. You're going to have some fire lit underneath you, and then it's going to actually help you move forward. And that is my phone. Oh my gosh. Sorry. And it's spam. So I knew, I left my phone in here. I was working on it earlier, and I thought, you know what? I shouldn't leave it in here. I'm not, no, I'll never get a phone call. I got a phone call. Okay. No business venture? Well, maybe not for profit. It could be just a new, hobby that could lead to a business venture. All right. So Sam wants a card. Let's see. And it could be I missed out. I mean, that's entirely possible. But just let it, percolate a little bit, Linda, and see if anything comes out. All right, so this one's for Sam. Let's see. You're welcome, Christy. All right. Sam. Obfuscate, which is mysteries, right? So it means you are, you actually are kind of starting to delve deeper into the unknowns in subjects that you haven't really looked at before. In the back of your mind, I think it's almost like one of those a rabbit hole. You've started looking into different subjects, and now there's something that's piqued your interest, and in a way that you're having a hard time finding out information on it, so you're actually having to dig deeper, which that even intrigues you even more. So I think whatever this topic is, a subject, that it's actually going to be a lifelong passion of yours. It's something that you're going to continue to look at, and you're almost, in a lot of ways, I can see you as being a professional about it, so very knowledgeable about this. You're going to be looked at as somebody that has, a specialist in a lot of ways. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Okay, let's see here. All right, so I'm just seeing if I missed anybody. Oh, maybe. Yeah. So and fear, yeah. So that was a card that we had before. But I really see that you have a hobby that it's almost it can be almost commercial. Um, and I don't know what that is, but I can see it as being potentially profitable for you. All right, so let me see what Spirit has for Maribel. Mm-hmm. Sam, I'm telling you, all of us here have some psychic ability. It's just honing it, right? All right, so this is for Maribel. Maribel, you got achievement. Okay, so I mean, this one's a pretty simple one. It's a no-brainer in a lot of ways. Uh, what I see in this card for you, Maribel, what Spirit's telling me is that um, you actually have it in your mind what your success is going to be like. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope this works. So I can see you. You've got an end game. You've got a goal, but what Spirit's trying to tell me is that you're making achievements every day that you're getting that much closer to your dream, your whatever it might be, your goal. So take every day that you've done something, whatever it might be, and look at it as an achievement. So we need to make sure that you're enjoying the process, and so it's not just the destination, it is the journey. So every day you're getting closer and closer to that goal, but every day you have an achievement, and Spirit doesn't want you to forget that. Bye, Lucinda. Thank you. Before we all head out, let me just make sure I know what we're doing next time. Yeah, so the 7th is the day after Labor Day, right? Is that what we got? Make sure the red live button up top is on. I don't know what that means, but oh, you just sit and meditate with yours? Yeah, I know. It is. I've got a few that I do that with as well. So next September 7th is when we're going to have a crystal of the week, or possibly we'll do. So Sam, you actually came up with today's topic. That is, how we work with the elements in relation to crystals. So does anyone, oh, thank you, Amber. Does anyone have any suggestions for next Tuesday's conversation? We are wide open. As long as it involves metaphysical or crystals, or how we can, benefit ourselves, then we can put that on the agenda. It's totally up to y'all. I mean, I can throw out some examples or some ideas. What's the next level of our journey? So that's the topic. What's the next level of our journey? Okay. Yeah. I'm all for it. We are weaving in and out. Okay. Next level. Let me see. Keep a list. No kyanite. We have not done kyanite yet. Yep, so we can do kyanite too. And then, oh wow, I'm honored. Thank you, Amber. That was really sweet of you. Yeah, so what we can do is, yes, yeah. So Sam did mention the Luna card, and it came right up. Right, so that was for Christy, I think her name was. Yeah, pretty cool. Sam, you got it. You really got it. All right, so what we're going to do next week, we're going to talk about kyanite, if you've worked with kyanite before, and then we're going to blend into that conversation the next level of our journey. So that'll give us a lot of options for conversations next week. Next level is the next level. Right? I know. Yeah, so we have lots of segues. So I don't think we have one specific, agenda, which I like that. I mean, I like that we're very versatile in the conversations because that's how a conversation goes, right? So it just, flows depending on, what somebody else says or what the group mentality is. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. All right then. So that is it. And I kept y'all late. I'm so sorry. So I really appreciate you joining, the hour out of your day, out of your week. It's really, I appreciate it. And I hope y'all do too. I hope you like the camaraderie and just being able to talk about things like this. It really it gives us a, open, platform. Mm-hmm. A lot of us here are waiting, wondering what our next step is. So that can be a group topic. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What do you do? I mean, I think it's important what we need to push us. Right? I know. Linda, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I really like your conversation, your exchange, and giving us all the ideas you have. It's very, very special. So thank you. All right, guys. So we are done. So thank you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks, Sam. Yep. Well, it's basically it was all of us. So yeah, Christy. Yeah, come back next Tuesday. So we'll be here and we're going to talk about crystals and a lot of spiritual topics come up, and then we usually pull a card at the end of the show. So yeah, you're welcome to come back, please. And y'all don't forget, follow the show, follow the page, share us out if there's anyone. Oh yeah. Yep, this is my, what does it say? Sky above, earth below, peace within. Yeah. So yeah, that's my sentiment for today. Yeah, so y'all share, like us, follow us, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Good night, y'all. Have a good week.